Welcome to Seeing with Your Soul, a safe and sacred place to be vulnerable, to be transparent, to be authentic. I am your host, Tisha Michelle. From the deep pain and loss of my best friend Gloria, I realized she gave me the greatest gift ever, remembering my purpose in life, which is to help connect you to your authentic self, guide you to remember your purpose, and remind you that your current circumstance doesn't define who you are. Join me as we heal, align, and glow together. Hey, beautiful souls. Welcome back to another episode of Seeing with Your Soul. I'm your host, Tisha Michelle. So, you know how I like to get started with expressing my gratitude. In this present moment, the three things that I am grateful for. One, I would say I'm definitely grateful for being able to sleep in today. So typically I wake up about between 4 a.m. and 5 a.m. like every single morning. And then I'm just up looking crazy. I'll just be up and then I'll just start my day. You know, I go through my stretching and, you know, I write in my journal and set my intentions for the day. I express write down what I'm grateful for. I'll pull cards. Sometimes I'll read, you know, a little bit, but I'll do, you know, my spiritual practice, you know, once I get up because I'm just up. However, there are times where I'm just like, why am I up at 4 or 4:30 or 5? Like, I just want to sleep, right? So this morning I woke up a couple of times throughout the night, but I was able to sleep in, and I'm talking about sleep in. I looked at the clock. It was like 8:57. I was like, oh, hell no, I'm over here showing off. But it was good, and I didn't even get up and do anything. I looked and I said, I think I could go back to sleep. And the next thing you know, it was 10 a.m. So it's hella weird and odd for me to even though I didn't sleep straight through the night, but to not actually start my morning routine, my morning practice until a little bit after 10 a.m. was amazing. That meant that my body needed it. Needed it. So I'm very grateful for that. So I also think that the next thing that I'm grateful for, which was deleting the social media apps off of my phone. And I think it's all connected. I wanted to work on some things and I was like, okay, so I'll take a couple of hiatuses from social media. And I was like, you know what? Let me just delete this off my phone right now. And it was probably about 7 p.m. last night, you know, and it was about 7 p.m. So I just deleted them off of my phone and was like, let me just work on some stuff and kind of just like chill or whatever, right? So I deleted them off of my phone and I was able to knock out some things and get a little clear. And it was good. I didn't feel like I was going through any withdrawals or something, which is great. And the reason being with that is because I've deleted and got off of social media, you know, a couple times before and once for a really long time. So I wasn't actually going through those withdrawals this time, but I'm pretty sure that also helped and played a part of me being able to sleep in because my mind wasn't racing and full of different things that I'm seeing on social media, or, you know, you can get lost in scrolling and then like, oh, should I post this or should I post here? So, you know, taking some of that away from there just allowed me to just like chill and just my brain to just relax. And so I'm pretty darn sure that played a great part into me being able to sleep. So I'm very, very grateful to be able to recognize and understand that it's okay. I can take a break from social media and nothing's going to fall apart. My business isn't going to fall apart. People aren't going to like forget about me, any of, you know, of that sort. So the third thing that I would say that I'm grateful for, which is really interesting because all this could be just one big thing that I'm grateful for. And this was just really self-care. Now that I think about it, it was just self-care. But the third thing was my friend took me hiking. I told her that I wanted to get away and I wanted to go to Sedona, but it wasn't the best time for me to be able to go to Sedona with, you know, different things I have going on. But she told me about this little hiking place. So we went and it was just beautiful. And we weren't out there too long, but it was just great just to be out in nature. If you've been, you know, listening to me for a while, you know that nature, that's my thing. That's my space. So I was able to get out in nature and to create space. And that's what I do is when I'm out in nature, I get to create space. And when I say create space, I mean, I am able to get to that place where I'm releasing some things so that way I can welcome in more and also just be able to silence myself, right? So the day was great. We went, hiking, and then, I came back home, did a couple of things, and then I watched The Babysitter's Club on Netflix. Guys, like, talk about childhood. Like, I read like all the books. I wanted to start a babysitting club because of The Babysitter's Club. So when I first found out that they were going to be, Netflix was going to have like this show, this was probably like 2 years ago, maybe, I couldn't wait for it to come out, but I forgot all about it. But I happened to get on Netflix, and then I seen it pop up, and I was like, oh my God, guys. And I was so happy. I got me some food. I made my food, got all nice and comfy, and I got in the bed, and I just watched the season 1 of it. And it was just so fun, so feel good, so childish. And oh my God, my inner child was just like so happy. And I was loving like all over that. So these past 3 days have just been like amazing when it came to just like self-care, right? So I know I broke down and gave you 3 things in the present moment, but ultimately it was just all really about self-care. And those were the things that I did to take care of myself, right? So guess what? Now it's your turn. So as long as you aren't driving, I want you to go ahead and close your eyes. And now I want you to go ahead and take a deep breath. You're going to breathe in through your nose and out through your mouth. Again, in through your nose and out through your mouth. One more time. In through your nose and out through your mouth. Good. So it's really important to take deep breaths throughout the day, because that helps to get you grounded, and it'll help get you back to your natural state of wholeness, right? So it's even more important to express our gratitude, right? The more we are grateful, the more we can receive, right? So what are you grateful for in this present moment? And you can say 3 things, you can say 1 thing, you can say 5, whatever it is, it doesn't even matter. It's just as long as you are expressing like your gratitude, right? Put it out there. What are we grateful for? Especially when you get into like this little I love when I say 3, like if I put like a number, and it's because what I'll do is I'll start thinking about all the different things that I'm grateful for. But then I feel like, well, if I can only narrow it down to 3, what are the top 3 out of all? But what it's really doing is like I'm having this story just like, replayed into my head. And then all the different things that I am grateful for are popping up. And I feel like I have to narrow it down, right? But when we do that, like we're just so raising like our vibration, because we're thinking about all the great things that are going on in our life, even in the midst of a storm. There's so much to be grateful for. Like even just by saying, I am grateful to be still breathing, because as long as you have breath in your life, you have another opportunity to start over, do something different, walk in further in your purpose, speak your truth, just freaking live, right? So super important to express your gratitude, and maybe even come up with, like I do this every morning, where it's my spiritual practice, and I write what my intentions are for the day, and then I'll list what I'm grateful for, right? And I do that every morning to set the tone for the day. And do I express my gratitude throughout the day and sometimes at night? Yeah, when it comes up or something will come up, I'll just be like, thank you. Just thank you. But I like to do this also in the morning, because again, I'm setting the tone for the day, right? So if you don't have a practice like that, I highly suggest that you come up with one and just incorporate it. And yeah, just incorporate it. So, okay, story time for this episode. So some of you may have heard me talk about it before on the podcast, but I joined the military, the Army. Right? I was in the Army. I was a soldier. Hey. And after boot camp, you go, you do your basic training, and then you do your second part, your AIT, which is where you learn like your skill, right? So I did my basic training in Missouri, Fort Leonard Wood, yeah. Called Fort Leonard Wood, which they called Fort Lost in the Woods, because that's what that shit was, in the fucking woods. Crazy. And then I did my second part of training. Oh my God, why am I drawing a blank? Oh my God. And I'm totally not going to edit this shit either. But anyway, it was in Petersburg because I'm in Richmond. And why am I drawing a blank? It's the supply capital. Wow. Okay. I'm not even going to even fool with it to try to remember. It's crazy. Anyway, when I was done, you're done with your basic training and you do the second part, your AIT, you then get sent to your station. So I was sent to Hinesville, Georgia, which is right outside of Savannah, Georgia. And then there's Atlanta. And I was at Fort Stewart. And it was a battalion. It was a signal unit. Anyhow, so, I'm a new soldier. And you get there and you got to go through all your little processing and stuff, right? And I want to say this was probably maybe, God, it was early in the game. It was between the second and the third day of me getting there. You get shown who your captain is and who's your junior sergeant, your first sergeant, and all of that stuff, right? And I'm a P3, so I'm a private, so I'm a P3, and that's your lower levels, right? I'm just getting in there. But there's P1, P2, and P3. But I went in with a little something. So I was a P3. Anyhow, so when I get there, they're giving me the rundown, and there's some other soldiers that's in the unit and stuff. Well, quite a few of them warned me about the first sergeant. They say, oh yeah, the first sergeant, he's going to be all over you. They were saying stuff like, he's going to be all over you. Watch out for him. He's a big flirt. He don't care that you're married. So I'm getting this whole, they're warning me, but they're not warning me on some scary shit. They're just it's just fucking normal. But they're just giving me the heads up. Sure enough, I end up running into the first sergeant, and out the gate, he's flirting. He's making sexual comments. He even went as far as propositioning me, feeling me out, and because I don't remember exactly what it was and this was a long time ago, what his words were, but it was kind of and for my ladies that are listening, if you've ever been kicking it with a dude or just talking to a dude and they're trying to fill you out, so they make little comments, little sexual things to see if you're going to be oh, maybe laugh or whatever, because in their mind, they're oh, well, she's going to be into this because, she's laughing and she's entertaining it. So he was saying little things like that. So I just shut that shit down, and I shut it down in a nasty way. And one, because first of all, I'm new here and I'm just new to the military, right? So, and I know I have a bad attitude and I have not been tamed. I have not been trained to follow the fucking line. I may have went through basic training where you been taught to be in formation and you had drill sergeants yelling at you to do these push-ups and to run and to do all those things and shit. I got hell in basic training off the back because I was from New York. So they already was you're going to have a bad attitude. So I had a little rough then because I did. I did have a little attitude because I'm still trying to get used to people telling me what to do when shit, I got pregnant at 16 and I had kids doing, doing my own thing. So I'm just painting that picture to just really for you to understand that here I am, someone who always says what the fuck she wants to say. And I have kids, I'm married, and at the end of the day, I'm not looking at you as my first sergeant. I'm looking at you as some man that's inappropriately speaking to me and coming on to me. And that I have a whole husband and everything. So I'm going to put you in your place like I put anybody else in their place that's being disrespectful because I value myself. I love myself. And that's just not fucking cool. So I shut that shit down in the most nastiest way. And when I say nasty, very fucking direct to his ass. And after that, he treated me like shit. When it came time to do our morning workouts and stuff that we had to do, this is bullshit in the Army. You got to get up and do PT at fucking 4 a.m. Let me stop because I was in the best shape of my life. But he would make me run even more. He would criticize things like when I'm like in formation, like I'm not doing things correctly. Just mad, just shitty because I bruised his little ego, right? And it was crazy. It was absolutely crazy. And it was just like any little thing. It was just doing extra things when it came to what my work was, or as if this wasn't like good enough. It didn't last that long. I had an amazing sergeant that was my direct person that I report to, who really had my back. And honestly, he's like one of like the greatest men that I've ever met. And he taught me a lot about the military, and he taught me a lot about like protecting yourself and how to keep people at a distance, even though that they have this power trip and stuff. So he was a big savior. He was a big savior into that. So I wanted to share that story with you because I wanted to talk about Vanessa Gillian. And forgive me if I'm pronouncing her last name, incorrectly. But she was the Fort Hood soldier who went missing on April 22nd. And where now they say one of two suspects, was committed suicide. And they were just recently found like her remains, right? And you can look it up if you haven't heard about it. But she told two of her sisters and some fellow soldiers that she was being sexually harassed by a superior. And the superior would be someone who's a higher rank than you. So you could be a P1 and I could be a P2. Well, I outrank you, right? So, and she said that, and she was fearful of reporting because of retaliation. And he even said that while she was in the shower, that a superior came into the bathroom and just sat down and just watched her. Right. So it's all around awful on so many levels. She graduated high school in like 2018. So she was a baby. She was young and she joined the Army. I don't know, because I haven't talked to her parents. So I don't know why she joined and what was that reason. But you are sold on like you're fighting for your country, and it's so honorable to be a part of something for your country. And they also will pay for your college and you can get a nice bonus, right? So it's very enticing and you can learn an amazing skill, right? So it's very enticing. So we'll back up and go to story time and then come back to Vanessa. So I actually joined the military really because my aunt put it in my head. My aunt wanted to go into the Navy and then I think she got pregnant or something. So she was like, you really should look at going into the military. It'll be good, for like benefits and good for like the kids and stuff. So I was like, let me look into it. So I looked into all of them. I was like, there's no way in hell I'm doing the Marines because they're hardcore and badass and I ain't built for that shit. I didn't want to do the Navy because I was like, I don't want to be on water and be getting all seasick and shit, right? So then there was the Air Force and the Army. Everybody and their mother was like, you should go to the Air Force because the quality of life is better and it was easier. So in my mind, I was like, I don't want to do easy. I want to be challenged. So let me go into the Army. Because that was just my way of thinking. No real rhyme or reason other than the fact that it was like, I don't want to do anything easy. That's lame, right? And I go to the Army. They're like, you can get bonuses and you can, they'll pay for you to relocate. And once you get out of your basic training, you could pick where you want to go. So wherever you want to go, like that's where you'll be stationed at. And they'll pay for your schooling and all of this stuff, right? Just sold me all this shit. So I went and I have 4 kids now and I had my 2. Dessa and Michael, my 2 oldest, and they were young. I think I went in at 20. Oh my God, I can't believe it's been this long. That's so crazy. I think I went in at like 21. Yeah, I think I went in at 21. So I was fresh, and I just got married. I had these 2 little kids, and then here I am, I'm going away. So it was an experience. It absolutely was an experience. I loved it for the people. I hated it for the people. I was able to see how I was able to push through physical limits and mental, because when you go into the military, a lot of people think it's physical, but it was about 90 to 95% fucking mental. Mental. I'm about to say 100% after I just said 90 to 95. And then the rest was physical, right? You know, I went into the military not knowing how to do a push-up, came out of it like battling people like, oh, I bet I could do more push-ups than you, that type of shit, right? So it definitely got you into that sense, but it was more of a mental thing, right? You have to deal with a lot of power trips, right? You get to meet a lot of different personalities. So I can definitely say that being in the military helped me with dealing with just different people, because in the military, you meet people from all over and you meet all different types of personalities. So you learn to really just be around people and connect and understand, right? But again, we'll go back to the power trip. So there was also a lot of people that in there, because of what their rank was, I am superior to you, right? And Lord knows if you are walking outside and you walk past an officer and you don't salute them, they will absolutely stop you and be like, private or whatever you are. And you got to get into a certain formation and yes, ma'am, yes, sir. And they will quickly check your ass and say, did you not just walk past and see that I'm an officer? And sometimes you can't see like from that distance and to see if they're an officer, you know, or not, or looking on to like for their rank or whatever. So sometimes you don't see till you get right up on them and then you're like stopping dead ass in your track just to fucking salute them. Yeah, I get it. You went through, I would say like, oh, well, you went through all of this stuff to become an officer. You know, it's like how people get offended if you don't call them doctor, da da da. They're like, it's doctor, da da da. And some people say, well, I went through so much schooling and so much hard work and everything to become a doctor. Like, you absolutely are going to address me as doctor. I get it. Whatever, do your thing. You know, but even into like the military, where I ain't trying to put no shade onto anybody, but to be honest, if I would have known what I needed to do, I would have gotten my college degree first and then went into the military, because I would have went in as an officer. So people would have been fucking saluting my ass, right? So I'm saying all that to say that there's definitely this superior attitude of I am superior to you. I outrank you. So you are going to do what it is that I say. You are going to be afraid of me, because I can make things happen. I can make things happen. I can make your life a living hell here because I am superior. And that is the mentality. Does that mean that it is everyone in the military? Absolutely no. Does that mean that's everybody in the world that's like that? Absolutely no. But mainly it is. So let's go back to Vanessa. You know, definitely bless her soul, like rest easy. It is awful. She reported and she said something that she was being sexually harassed and nothing happened. She ends up being missing, right? Where's the outrage? Why aren't they tearing things up? Why aren't they trying to find where she's at? Who was harassing her? What was the case? What is going on? So I want to go back to the story when I expressed to you when I got to my unit, how everybody was updating me and warning me that First Sergeant was going to be flirting. First Sergeant was going to come at me, right? So they weren't warning me like, hey, I need you to protect yourself and keep your eyes up. It was just fucking normal, because this is what he does and this is what he does to everyone, right? So I will be honest. I never reported it, but I never reported it. How do I say this? I never reported it to someone. And the reason I wasn't afraid to report it to someone because I thought that something would happen to me. Honestly, I never even thought twice to report it, because in my mind, I can handle myself and I'm going to check your ass and I'm going to put you in your fucking place and you're not going to fucking disrespect me and you're not going to come at me. Right. But that was just my thinking, right, at that time. And I'm in my early 20s, right? I'm like 21, 22. I don't even know how old I am. And thinking I'm just Billy Badass and this is just what it is, right? And when I think back about that, especially with the Vanessa case, all these other women knew that he was like that and he had did that. And some of them he actually had sex with, but that was because they wanted to and for whatever their reasons were. But it was still very inappropriate and it was something you were not to fucking do. You just were not to do that. And nobody reported anything. Nobody said anything. It was just normal and it's just what it is and you just accept it and you just keep it moving. And even for me, I didn't report it, but I didn't report it for that. I just reported it because I was like, I can take things on, on my own, right? But when I think back about it, I've heard so many stories when I was in the military about different people being like sexually harassed and taken advantage of, and nobody says anything. And nobody says anything and nobody does anything. And they don't say anything because of fear of retaliation, but also they don't say anything because they just feel like nothing's going to happen because they are superior. Because they are fucking superior, and they appear to be. And I think that is awful. And I feel like we need to normalize saying something, speaking up, speaking our truth, right? But not only do we need to normalize saying something, but people holding these powers and stuff need to fucking do something about it. We need to do something about it. But it starts with us saying something. And I know, sometimes people say, well, don't blame the victim because they didn't say anything. And in Vanessa's case, she said something. She said something. And everyone fucking failed her. Everyone failed her. Everyone failed her. She had the courage. It takes courage to, first of all, it takes courage to just say something in general. But to know that you're speaking up against a superior and someone that is in the military that holds this fucking fake ass power, right? And she said something. And she was failed. She was failed. And they failed her on so many levels. And I can't speak about everything because I don't know all of the facts, right? So I don't want to talk out of line. But I did watch that press conference when her mom was like, they said that the mom asked to shut down the unit to find her. Why wasn't Fort Hood closed? Shut that shit down. Whenever it's like, oh, it's an active shooter, they shut it and they lock everything down. We have all the codes and everything. And I've been through many, I've been through a few, I'm like many, like it was a lot. I've been through a few, lockdowns on the post. Why didn't they lock it down? Why were they feeding her different lies and saying stuff? And I seen this post that said, or it wasn't even a post, I think it was somebody posted and they said, everybody was outraged when Colin Kaepernick took a knee because they said that he was disrespecting the flag and disrespecting the military. Well, Vanessa signed up to be in the military, to honor her country, to fight for her country if it came down to it. And she was disrespected. She wasn't heard, and she was murdered. So where is the outrage there? Where is the outrage for her? Seriously, like where is that? And as a whole, and as Americans, and as a country, when you say, I don't see color, or racism was back in the days, or I don't see the prejudice, or I don't see the double standards, and all this fucking bullshit that people say they don't fucking see. They see it. How can you not see where our priorities lie? You were upset over him saying he disrespected the military. But the military did not protect their own. The military did not protect their own. And then after her remains were found, here we are celebrating the fucking 4th of July. I am so proud to be an American and all of this stuff. And it's like, how can you? How can you? And this is just one part of it, right? One part of it. Most of the time when people are being sexually harassed, they don't say anything, right? They don't tell anybody. They don't even tell like family and like friends because they sometimes feel ashamed and they feel like, what's the point? But she said something. And she was not protected. She's a little girl. She's younger than my oldest. Let me say she's 20 because she just went to high school. So this stuff happens in the military all the time. But it happens so much in the military that it's normalized. But I say we need to normalize speaking the fuck up and holding people accountable for their shit. Even if you just say an inappropriate fucking word, you need to be reprimanded for that shit. Examples need to be made. But the crazy shit about it is it's the higher ups that they're all in on that shit. There was this fucking lieutenant colonel in the army that said some dumb shit. And I wish I would have wrote this down to talk about it. But she went on her Facebook page and someone had posted and shared Vanessa's story and that they were sad or whatever. She said something like, oh, please. She was like, this is what happens when you sign up to be in the good old boys club. And if you want to be a snowflake and report it, then what do you expect to happen? That wasn't her exact words, but it was damn near it. So you could Google that shit too. First of all, you're a fucking female saying some stupid shit like that. But again, there's that brainwashed, right? There's that whole brainwash, like, oh, this is the good old boys club. Oh, it's the good old boys club. And this is just going to happen. It's just a part of it. But if you speak up about it, like, what do you expect to happen? She lost her fucking life. So because some fucking little ass boy acting like a grown ass man that needs to tend to his inner child and check his childhood and do some goddamn inner work decides that he wants to act all macho because he has a little bit of fucking rank, a little bit of something that was fucking sewn onto your damn uniform. It's just a fucking joke. It's a fucking joke. And I'm speaking that I'm a fucking veteran and it's a fucking joke. So because you have this little bit of rank sewed onto your little BDUs, right, your clothes, and you feel like, oh, this is fresh meat, because they even say shit like that, because this is fresh meat in here that I get to do whatever it is that I want to do, and you just need to just deal with it. And that's basically what was said without even saying those words, just by the action. And for a female lieutenant colonel to say some shit like that, she needs to not be in the fucking army, whatever. I think she was in the army. She needs to not be in there, because what are you teaching and what are you saying to these young girls coming in here looking for something? I don't know what Vanessa, like I said, I don't know why she joined there, but they sell you so much. They sell you this big ass dream, like, we're going to pay for your college. Guess what? They do. But you know what? I didn't get my college stuff paid for until after I got out of the army, because I didn't have any time. I was the armor. I was my rank. I was a 92 Yankee, which is a supply specialist. So when I was in the military, I was in charge of supply. Anything from toilet paper to vehicles, I had to keep account for. But also inside supply, I was also the armor, which means that I was in charge of all the weapons. So if there was like a road guard march, I had to be the one to assign all the weapons out and wait for the people to come back in. If we were going out on the range and they were shooting and their weapon would like jam or something, I had to be the one to go out there and to fix it. So you're busy and there's a fucking formation every time I turn around. A formation means it's a certain time of the day that you have to line up and be accountable, and they need to count and make sure that everybody is there. And you need to do this. And there's so many formations throughout the day and all of this stuff. I'm sorry, where was there time to go to school? Oh, you could take some online classes, but you're fucking tired. So anyway, I didn't get some schooling and stuff taken care of which I'm thankful for the GI Bill. So yeah, yay, I got that. It's just the different benefits and stuff that they say that they offer. So it's very enticing, and especially if they'll pay for you when you get out of there to move to wherever it is that you want, which is not fucking true. There's a little stipulation to the first time before you enlist again. But anyhow, I'm saying all that to say I don't know what the reason why she joined, but I know she did not join to be harassed and then to be murdered. It's fucked up. The military failed her. And the people, us people and the public, we failed her too. There was more people outraged over Colin Kaepernick kneeling and saying he disrespected the military than there are people who are keeping her name alive, searching for her. And yes, there are people searching for her. And yes, there are people posting. Yes, there are people sharing. I'm just saying that there should be more. There should be more. That was someone's little girl. And she signed up for this fucking country that everybody wants to say that they love so much. And it's the best and it's ever. She was in the military under their fucking watch. And she was sexually harassed and she was murdered. And what they did to her body is like, what the fuck? Crazy. Crazy, crazy, crazy. So we need to normalize speaking up for when things happen to us. Even if you feel like nothing's going to happen, or even if you feel like afraid, we have to figure out something. We have to figure out something. And again, this is not to blame a victim at all. I get it. I get where people are scared, but however, we need to make people feel comfortable and safe. And I don't know what that looks like, because so many times when victims come out and say something about being raped or molested or sexually harassed, people blame them or they don't believe them. And when I say we need to normalize this speaking up, it goes into everything, even into your fucking household. Listen to children. Listen to children when they are saying something about a person in your family. I don't care if it's your boyfriend and you're like, oh, they would never fucking do that shit. You listen to the kids. You listen to the kids. You make your kids feel, or other kids, you make them feel safe to speak up and to say something. And that, you know what, no matter what, I'm going to believe you. I'm going to believe you off the bat. And then we're going to go through, and work things out. But one thing you will know is that I'm going to believe you and I'm going to have your back. So it starts in our home. And it does, just like how I expressed to everyone that it starts with you checking like yourself, right? Yes, it starts with us in our home, and making sure that people feel comfortable and safe to be able to express things that are happening. And then you do whatever you can to protect them and to hold other people accountable. So yes, it may kind of seem like I'm all over the place with this, but I promise you I'm not. We just need to normalize speaking up about inappropriate things. And we need to normalize telling someone, telling everyone. Everyone needs to know what type of person you are. Everyone needs to know that this is going on, so we can have all eyes on deck. So everybody is looking at everything. And then we need to protect our women. We need to protect our women. We need to protect our children. We need to protect children. We need to protect women, whether I don't even know. I'm not even going to sit here and start just making up shit. But that should hurt my heart so much about Vanessa. Like, she was just failed all around. And she is someone who signed up to, that's the first thing they say. Not the first thing, one thing, but don't you want to be a part of fighting for your country and protecting your country and honoring your country? All these things that are being preached when you're joining into the military. And I know firsthand because I was in the military. And this is the rah-rah and the codes that we have and the songs that we have and the chants that we chant when we're marching and all of this stuff, right? But the military didn't live up to any of that for her. They failed her. They absolutely fucking failed her. And how many other people are in the military that this has happened to, that they're being sexually harassed and no one is saying anything? And again, we're going to rewind and go back into the beginning of my story time. When I got there, everybody knew what type of person that he is. And all they could do was just warn me of let me just give you the heads up, girl. It was that type of tone. Why? Why was he still a first sergeant there? Why hasn't he been reprimanded? Why hadn't anything happened to him? Why was it normalized that that's just who he is and that's just what it is? That is not okay. That is not okay at all. So I wanted to come on here just to share my story about that incident in the military, which was really nothing, obviously, compared to what some of these other ladies are going to. But it was just to let you know firsthand that I've experienced that. I've experienced that and how normal it was. And it's stupid. And I say we need to normalize speaking up. We need to normalize holding people accountable. Needs to be accountable. So stuff like this will happen, to Vanessa, won't happen to anybody else. So how can we do our part? Again, it starts within our home. It starts within our home. And just bless her heart, she even had the courage to say something. Even telling other soldiers and telling her sisters, but that she had the courage to say something. And who the fuck does he think he is to walk in on her in a shower and sit your ass down and just fucking watch her? Because what? Because you are superior? Because you got a higher fucking rank? No, our military needs to be fucking held. I mean, it's, you know what? It's crazy. Let me tell you this, right? It's how fucked up it is in the whole process of shit. And again, I'm not bashing the military. There's some great soldiers. Like I told you, I met some amazing people, you know, and they're just like I met amazing people in the world that's not in the military, right? It's not for that. But when you're in the military, you get most of your stuff are set up on allotments, right? An allotment means that whatever bills you owe, like your rent, your cable and all that, you set it up on an allotment that they take out. So when you get your paycheck, so say your paycheck's $4,000 a month, and they break it down the 1st and the 15th. So all your bills will come out, that's set for the 1st, on allotment will come out of your check. And then out of that $2,000, you might have $400 left. So once that $400 hits your account, that's just your money because all your bills came out. So talking about having like a great payment history when I was in the military, hello, because I ain't had to pay. They took it all out. So you get set up on an allotment, right? And you fill out an allotment for whoever accepts them, your cable, your lights, everything. Everybody wants you anyway, especially when I was in Hinesville, because that was like a military town. So everything was just fucking military, right? So everybody wants you on an allotment because they're going to know they're going to get their money on time because they pull it straight out of your check. Cool, right? If you owe something, a bill, you are behind on something, say you don't have an allotment or whatever, they call your unit and they tell your first sergeant, and you get in trouble and you got to get your shit fucking paid or you are going to have consequences for a fucking bill. Once again, I know this firsthand, for a fucking bill. But you got first sergeants, because you're still superior. If you're a sergeant and you're a private, which is like she was, like you're still over them because you outranked them, right? You can feel like they own you and they can do whatever they want and they're not held accountable, but let you not pay a fucking bill. Let you not pay your car payment or it's not on allotment. Your ass is getting in trouble. Or matter of fact, walk outside and forget to put your beret on. Whoo! And let somebody that outranks you see that shit. You are getting chastised. They may make you drop down and do fucking push-ups because you walked out and forgot to fucking put your beret on, forgot to put your hat on. Or you were walking around post and your uniform looks shitty like it hasn't been ironed. You are getting in trouble. You are getting put on a certain duty. You see how fucking stupid that is? But then people are afraid to say something about someone sexually harassing them because they're afraid that they're going to get in trouble because some fucking prick is harassing them. We got to do better, man. We got to do better. We have to do fucking better. It's just awful. You just think about it. It's just awful, awful, awful. I pray that we get justice for Vanessa. One of them already copped the fuck out and was a coward and killed himself. So there goes that, right? But anybody else that was involved. And I don't even just mean the people who physically did something to her, but the people who let her fucking down. However it was reported, whoever knew something, whoever dropped the ball, whoever didn't order more, check-in, whoever didn't order and shut down the post because one of their own was missing. Everybody needs to be held accountable. And I pray that everybody is held accountable and we start making examples so we can fix this shit because this shit is all throughout the military. All throughout the military. And America and Americans need to be ashamed of themselves. Lordy, 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 lordy. And some people are going to probably think this is bashing the military. It's not bashing the military. It was actually, when I was in the military, I asked this one question all the time of my sergeant. I said, what do we do? Everybody's just running around looking busy, being busy. And I'm like, what do we do? How many times do I gotta take records of supplies? What the fuck? What do we do? If we're not at war, what are we doing? I don't know. It was just, I don't know. It was a great experience though. You know, I learned a lot. I was taught a lot about myself and about working with other people. And it was something that I told my kids that they could not do. I know that they're going to be their own people, but I said, no. They said, well, you joined the military. I said, I don't give a fuck what I did. I ain't letting none of y'all asses go. No, no, ma'am, no, sir. Not at all. But again, there's amazing people and there's some very ethical people and very loyal people and very by the book people in the military who do amazing jobs. And then you have just as many who are fucking shitty. And they all need to be held accountable. So, well, that's what I have for you guys today. I wanted to just share that, and I wanted to talk about, you know, the unfortunate murder and how we all failed her. How we all failed her. All right, that's what I have for you guys. Until next time, bye. Thanks for tuning in to #Certified. If anything resonated with you, I would love to continue the conversation. You can follow me on Instagram at @itistisha. And if you want to be a part of the #Certified tribe, you can join my Facebook group by going to the search tab and putting in #Certified. My website is conversationswithtisha.com. As always, have a great one on purpose. Love you.